You're listening to Keith Engle, the host of TGI Sports Talk on the National Streaming Sports Roku channel.
Football season is here, and SeatGeek is my go-to for buying tickets. Now with SeatGeek, every single ticket is backed with their buyer guarantee. We've all had plans change, and when you can't make it to the big game, SeatGeek has you covered. They're the only ticketer that allows you to return your tickets ahead of the event for credit with SeatGeek swaps. So when things come up, I know that my tickets won't go to waste. So what are you waiting for? Download the SeatGeek app to maximize your possibilities and shop live events with confidence.
Good morning, everybody. Keith Engle here for TGI Sports Talk. Sunday, Stream of Consciousness. It is great to have you with us today. Lots going on. I want to welcome everybody watching on Facebook, the TGI Sports Talk Facebook page, my personal Facebook page, on X, on YouTube, all my different outlets there. And of course, on National Streaming Sports on Roku. Get those channels, those National Streaming Sports channels downloaded, guys, free. Lots of great content. And we also wish Mac McGrath speedy recovery. He's still in the hospital for a few days, but we expect him to get back in the saddle hopefully here sooner than later. Linda was just commenting on the big football show this morning, how they were doing. So apologize, I got a little glare on the side of my head. Whatever. I guess I can't move that. Where was I? Also, SeatGeeks, who sponsors this show, is a sponsor of this show and all the shows on National Streaming Sports. Great stuff on SeatGeeks. I use it myself. Got my tickets for Syracuse and Miami in 2 weeks there as well. DDH, thumbs up to you. Quick shout out to Ralph Williams at RW Media. Ralph does some great stuff, including the Sports Corner every Tuesday from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern with Smoke and Jim Frazier. I was a guest on there this week, had a lot of fun, and really enjoyed. Why are we not on live? Something is going on with Facebook again. Let me check something out, guys. Bear with me a second. I wonder if it's because this one is still live. I don't understand. MLB update. So you guys are not seeing me live on TGI Sports Talk, which is causing me to have no viewers here. This is frustrating as hell. Let me tell you. Remove. I'm going to try something here, guys. Bear with me. Facebook has made life very, very freaking difficult lately. I don't understand what's going on with them. But they're really starting to tick me off. This will be 2 weeks in a row. I had another show this week. The College Football Huddle didn't get on live. I don't know if it's because I'm live with. Can I stop this? Let me see if I can stop this one. There we go. Let me see if I stop this one. What happens? Technical difficulties, guys. When you're dealing with. See, we're having trouble streaming. I'm going to remove this again, and I'm going to add it again. I think this is what hurt, and maybe that's why Paul didn't see it come up. I don't know. Here we go. We're going to try again. Maybe you can only stream once. Maybe you can only stream one thing at a time on Facebook now, and when I share the my appearance on the big football show, that might be affecting things. I don't know. Let me take another quick look and see if we're live here. So I ended that one, and then I started this one back up. I took myself out, put myself back in. I'm still not live on my own freaking page. Now I am. All right, I think we might have learned something new. Facebook has obviously changed some rules again. I welcome everybody again watching on my page, TGI Sports Talk. Hopefully we're there because now I can't get rid of this. There we go. Jeepers creepers, right? AC's with us. Good to have you. I got to mention the groups yet. CA's here. So, guys, sorry about the late start on my Facebook page. We started right on time, and like with the College Football Huddle on Wednesday, we weren't live, and I've seen it a couple times on Sundays. I'm not live on my own page. And I think part of it is because, maybe I need to do my own. Let me see. Am I live or not? I'm live. Am I live on my personal page? Let me take a quick look. Let's take a quick look. It appears I am. All right. I don't know. Guys can let me know where you're watching, I guess, and we'll be good. Oh, I get so frustrated, man. Anyway, thanks to the groups that'll share us. John Gonzalez at the Sports Authorities, Flo at the Bottom Line Sports, and LTS, Let's Talk Sports, where Flo manages, or I should say manages, I guess, his podcast or their podcast. Great stuff, all great stuff. Ken Krause at Sports Buds, Sports of All Sorts. Greg Rawlings at America's Pastime, Love for Baseball, and the such. By the way, hopefully we're still working on Rick Barry, former NBA legend Rick Barry, for an interview for next Friday. We're in negotiations right now. So lots to talk about. I'm going to get to your comments in a minute. I see Bill Pulver there. You can't pretend to be somebody today. Billy, if you were impersonating Ken Gifford, you cannot do that today. Yeah, we really are here. Awesome. Good. I don't know. I guess I got to stop sharing that feed from, I hate to do it, the big football show. I'm half alive. Thank you, Billy. You can't impersonate anybody today. You know what? I don't know if it's slow, Drew, or the fact that I can only share one live feed now at a time on Facebook. That was not the case before. I would jump off the big football show at 8:30, start my show, and somebody can correct me. You guys are seeing it more than I am. Both things would be going live. So I don't know. Linda, hope Mac's doing okay. Our best wishes to Mac McGrath. As I mentioned, Linda, his wife, is saying hi, and Mac is laid up, as Sonia said, on the DL for a little bit. Hopefully we'll get Mac back in the saddle at National Streaming Sports very, very soon. Download those Roku channels. That'll make Mac feel a lot better. As I said, I know a lot of you have, and watch My Giant Head on there every Sunday morning. Kenny, good morning. Good to have you with us. Haven't seen you in a little bit, or maybe I have, but we just got the I did not watch this game, Kenny. So give me a little, let's just see if I can find some information on that. Remind me. Let me just see if I can find something. There wasn't a game going away, so I'm not sure why we're that worried about it, but let's see what happened. Let's just see if there's anything I can find. Freeman hot and take after fake punt was on. Ball don't lie. South Bend Tribune. Let's see what they say. I got to see what happened here first. It's a game where Notre Dame scored 5 touchdowns. It was one of the Fighting Irish didn't score more. Bet you I can't read this whole article. Several minutes of discussion. Crowd quickly turned to cheers to boos. What's the final 3:08.5 was a Irish masterclass. I'm not really finding out what happened. What was the explanation for why the flag was thrown? The NBC broadcast crew notated that since Kaiser took the snap from close to center, the offensive lineman needed to be wearing a number from 50 to 70 to be legal, to be in legal position. On a traditional punt formation, the offensive lineman blocking can wear any number combination. So apparently that play is because they were wearing illegal numbers, so illegal formation, I guess, legal procedure, whatever. So anyway, lots to talk about. I see some more of you here. I want to get in here real quick. Paul, sorry, I know you had asked if I was on today. I wasn't on Facebook early today. I've been kind of getting things cleaned up. We had a big Thanksgiving party here today with all the family because they start to scatter for the holiday. In any event, we had to get some things cleaned up, so I wasn't able to do much except get down here and get ready for the show quickly. We'll talk about the college football. Kenny's already talked about it. I got Notre Dame moving up to number 6 this week, by the way, another huge weekend, even without the number of big games that we normally have. 7 losses in the college football playoff top 25, 2 in the top 6. BYU goes down, Tennessee goes down. There'll be a big shakeup in in the standings again this week. We'll take a look at all of that. Navy gets waxed. Army in a conference championship game for the first time in their history. First year in a conference, by the way. Who else? Oregon gets pushed to the limit. BYU very likely would have a bye as we speak right now as one of the top 4 ranked conference champions. As the Big 12 champion would right now be slotted in, probably be behind them. LSU is probably out. Signetti at Indiana gets a big contract extension. Is this a good thing? He's done a great job. But we've seen many times guys have a great first year. Mel Tucker, in the circumstances there might have been a little different. Mel Tucker got a 10-year, $100 million contract right out of the gate. Signetti gets 8 years at $84 million. Again, these colleges don't seem to learn. Great coach, great story, Indiana. I'm not sure if that's a great idea. Brian Kelly gets in an argument with one of his players, and another player comes in and starts screaming in his face. Has he lost control of this program? Smart roasted college football selection committee. We'll talk more about that. The NFL, we'll get into all the games. A couple of guys. Kittle's out. Nico Collins back for the Texans. Barmore back for the Patriots. The race for the number 1 pick. Our team's going to tank. And should they tank? I'm not a big in favor of tanking, but I'd love to see my team in position to get Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter, by the way, go back to college for a second, throw a couple things out there for discussion. Travis Hunter, I have been telling you all year, the number 1 player in the country. He was a human highlight reel yesterday, and I'm telling you right now, he won the Heisman Trophy yesterday. Game over. Giante was very good, had a great year. Cam Ward has had a great year. I think Travis Hunter wins this. And kudos to Colorado, still in play. So we got that. We got some baseball we can talk about. I might talk about the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame inductions last Sunday. Some great names. Don Mattingly and Buck Showalter hold it up. Rennie LaRue runs that organization, including New York State Basketball Hall of Fame, does a tremendous job. Has put a whole new museum up in Johnstown, New York. You guys who are close by want to check that out. I believe it's off Franklin Street, if I'm not mistaken, that runs between North Perry or Main Street and Route 30A. You might want to check that out. And again, we got some other stuff. Draymond Green becomes an idiot. Cleveland goes to 4-0 in the NBA, 14-0, sorry. And the Jets, the Winnipeg Jets, still doing very well. All right, let's see what we got here now. Linda does see us. As I said, kudos to Mac. We hope he's doing well. Kudos. Oh, kudos. Get well, Mac. Hopefully you're doing well. So there's the ruling as best as I can see it. Kenny was they were wearing the wrong jersey numbers to be able to participate in the play the way they did. Gang's all here. Chris F. Grave, our Canadian. My favorite show of the week, too, because I get to sit here and just play off you guys. I've said, and I say it on every show, you guys are the best. I have the best viewers, the most engaged viewers of any show I watch in this format. I'm just saying. That's why I like it. You're my co-host, guys. You can never impersonate Kenny. Well, not without some help. Yo, go Ducks. Your Ducks got away with one yesterday, Paul. Outplayed most of that game. They come up with 10 points. And again, really good teams find ways to win games. Congratulations. You know, theoretically, if Oregon had lost this game, it wouldn't mean anything. They'd probably still play in the championship game for the conference, and they'd still be in. I mean, Ohio State, Oregon are definitely locked into the playoff. Texas is probably locked in at this point. Indiana, I'm not sure yet. Depends. They get blown up by Ohio State next week. Maybe not, but it'll be something to talk about. Facebook, oh God, don't bite the hand that feeds you, right? And Facebook, I shouldn't say it. Facebook users, Facebook groups have been very friendly to this show and help grow the audience the way we have to 2,000, 3,000 views some weeks of all these shows. And that's not counting Twitter, YouTube, where we don't do a lot on YouTube. And Twitter's very funny. You'll get 10 views one week and 10,000 the next. So it's really weird. But Facebook, they changed what you can do, how I can share, how I can share the shows live. Again, I just gave you an example. Share to groups, which sometimes they throttle you, and I can share to 5 groups. Other times I can share to 500 if I wanted to. Just ridiculous, right? Danny's sending his prayers to Mac, and Linda sending back appreciation. We all are thinking about Mac. I promise you that. That was fun Friday. The Bollywood actor versus the cab. I didn't bring that up. We can talk a lot about Tyson and Paul. Oh God, thanks for bringing that up. I had it written right at the top, but I had all my other stuff done below my open, and then we had some problems, and I skipped over Tyson Paul. What a joke. I want my time back. I didn't spend any money because I have Netflix. First of all, Netflix, if you're going to do something like this, did you not think you were going to crash your freaking system with all these people watching? The fight was over by the time, about an hour. The fight was probably an hour over by the time I watched the end of it at about 1:15. And I didn't go look for the results because I wanted to watch. I don't know why. I told Chris I wasn't going to, but I did. And I feel like I wasted hours of my life. Now, I didn't watch everything from 8 o'clock on. I popped in and out. The women's fight was really good before Paul and Tyson, but to me, this was a huge con. Tyson never had any shot here, and Paul carries him for 8 rounds. You could have knocked him out anytime you wanted, in my mind. And they think, and Netflix is thinking this is a great thing. They had like 70 million viewers, I think, or something, or they're like that. No, I think it's 70,000. I didn't think they'd put half the building, get half the building full at AT&T, but they got 70,000. Did you see the seats, the luxury boxes up front that they were paying $2 million for? What are these people thinking? And I like Cedric the Entertainer. He has a very funny show on CBS. I like it a lot. They're called The Neighborhood. Shameless plug, apparently, for people who don't give me any money again. What's wrong with me? But as soon as I tune in and I see Cedric the Entertainer is one of the commentators, what? This was a hot mess from the beginning. The production was terrible. The people doing the announcing were terrible. Obviously, the engineering, or what do you want to call the behind the scenes of Netflix even being able to keep themselves on the air and not buffering. I don't know how many Facebook posts I saw of 99% and the wheel. But they're laughing all the way to the bank. Paul comes away with $40 million. He said he bet it all on himself, so he might have a lot more. Who knows? And Tyson gets $20 million, and he could probably use the money. And by the way, Netflix, I understand I'm watching Netflix, and language doesn't bother me, so I don't care. But I really didn't need to see Mike Tyson's ass in the interview before the fight. I just didn't. I'm sorry. Now I got to finish the rest of Chris's comment. The Bollywood actor versus the Cabbage Patch doll. That's pretty funny. Barrios versus Ramos. I didn't see that fight at all. And then there was something. I really enjoyed the women's fight. I thought Sariano, I think I'm saying her name right, was screwed. Grey Cup today. I didn't mention that. Chris F. Grave, who we got? There you go. He's got our Toronto Argonauts versus the Winnipeg Blue Bombers today. Classic. Those are old time CFL teams, if I'm not mistaken, right? There you go. Back to the 50s. Sorry, I should read the whole comment. It's exciting. Again, with the NFL on, I won't watch this probably. Where I'd be, I'm sure it won't be on. Maybe it's on tonight. Maybe I'll watch that instead of the Sunday night game. I like watching some CFL football. There was a time, late 80s, I want to say, maybe early 80s. There was a bunch of NFL players going up there and playing. Vince Ferragamo went up there. I guess this was early 80s. Tom Cousineau, Buffalo linebacker, went up there and played. And I'm not talking about the Warren Moons. Warren Moon was up there playing, obviously, at the time. But I'm talking about guys who left the NFL. Fred Biletnikoff went up there and played. I started watching a lot of CFL football at that time. I haven't watched a lot of it. I watched when Flutie was there. So it's fun. It's a fun league. I mean, you got to get used to the big wide field, and you got to get used to the weird rules like rouges and seeing like 6 guys in motion at a time, but it's fun. Barrios got robbed. Seriano got robbed. Agreed, Paul. Tyson, well, I said before this fight, you could think whatever you wanted. And I'm telling you, almost everybody I talked to a T thought Tyson was going to win this fight. I don't know why. He's a 58-year-old man. I was a 58-year-old man who's now 64. I wasn't in the shape Mike Tyson was in that night, but I can tell you right now, he wasn't going to do anything. It was one of the biggest con jobs since Geraldo opened up Al Capone's vault. A lot of talk about it being scripted. I'm not big, we talk about this in professional sports all the time. There was a script that was being shared in the social media world. I didn't go back and look at, I got to go back and find that script again and then kind of compare it to what happened. I said it Friday morning on the Mac and Jack show, where I filled in for Mac, and Jack was on with me. We talked about the Tyson fight, which might have extended Mac's stay in the hospital, which I'm not making light of. It's a big joke, and you probably get it if you're inside there. Linda, if you're listening, you probably know what I'm talking about. We probably sent his blood pressure up through the roof because we talked about it for about 20 minutes. But I said there, could Mike Tyson get lucky if he came out with a really quick flurry and knocked him out in 20 or 30 seconds? Yeah. But after that, the fight was over. And you did see him come out with a quick flurry, but nothing that was any vintage Mike Tyson. We talked about the fact that he hasn't fought since 2004 or 2005. I'm not sure. I think 2005 maybe. But it doesn't matter because he wasn't the same Mike Tyson for the 6 or 7 or 8 years before that. Buster Douglas ended the Mike Tyson we knew. That was it. That was the end of Mike Tyson as the Mike Tyson. And it's almost, like it's similar to the Rocky, and I know it's not real, Rocky against Ivan Drago, right? Once you proved you can make him bleed and once you can hurt him, well, you stop believing you're immortal and you're invincible. And that's what happened to Tyson against Buster Douglas. Shocking that night. I remember that fight very well. Drew, well, all the talk in baseball is about free agents, more of which will be added after Tuesday's 40-man roster adjustments. Nobody of any consequence in my mind, Drew, but yes, there'll be a lot more added. Again, we talked about this on MLB. I'm not really enamored with anybody past 8 or 9. I think the trade market will be a bigger topic as teams try to make room for rookies and free agents. I agree 100%, Drew, and I've talked about this a few times in the last several weeks, that there's so many teams looking to fill so many holes. Yankees are a perfect example. How many times have we seen teams, and again, I'm not bashing my team. My team made it to the World Series, played a horrible World Series and lost, but they got a lot of holes to fill. First base, second base, left field, right field, or center field, I'll say, because Judge needs to be in right field next year. And if Soto comes back, one of them's got to play left field, and somebody else has got to play center field. Judge cannot play center field for 162 games again next year. He cannot. Wears him down for two things. Wears him down. That's why you saw him slump. I'm not saying that was his postseason issues. One of the reasons he slumped towards the end of the year is it's a lot on a 6'8" guy's body. Anybody's body in center field. That's a lot of room to cover. I know some people don't think that they think that's nonsense, but there's also the fact that he is an above average to very, 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 very good right fielder. He's an average center fielder at best. So the Yankees with a lot of holes, plus pitching. So I agree. They're not going to be able to do that through free agency. You're going to need to make trades. And that's why Soto's holding up the whole trade market probably and free agent market until he lands somewhere. And if Boros does his normal, plays his normal shell game, then that may not happen for a while. Tyreek playing with a bad wrist that needs surgery, whatever. Tyreek Hill. I got him on one of my fantasy teams. He's been killing me. Tyreek Hill is one of the, he is a weirdo, by the way. We didn't know. I guess we knew it, but the more I read about Tyreek Hill, the more, and I said this forever. People thought the Chiefs were done, by the way, when Tyreek Hill left. How have the Chiefs done since then? Pretty good. They find ways to win games. Patrick Mahomes' numbers aren't in the stratosphere because maybe he doesn't have a great Tyreek Hill. You know what Patrick Mahomes does better than any quarterback in the NFL? Wins regular season games, wins playoff games, wins Super Bowls. And we'll hate him just like we hate Tom Brady. This country is so ridiculous in this sense. Anybody who's any good, we got to tear down. Even the people that are right. That, again, there's a lot of bad actors in sports. I think we know that, right? There's Ray Lewis's. There's who am I thinking of? In baseball, there's bad acts. In basketball, there's bad acts. But the guys who we should be celebrating, we don't. We don't celebrate the Tom Bradys. We don't celebrate the Derek Jeters. We don't celebrate the Patrick Mahomes. Oh, we want to build them up, but then we want to tear them down. Ridiculous. Notre Dame with a big win. AC and I are still alive with our bets, their future bets for a national championship. I'm going to tell you, I understand that Notre Dame's had its issues in the postseason. Gotten blown out. I think the 2 times they made the playoff under Brian Kelly. Notre Dame is going to be a live dog to win this thing. There's nobody that's that good. Every team we've seen has got their flaws. There's no great team this year. Ohio State's really good. Oregon is really good. They probably are the best 2 teams in the country. And maybe Notre Dame goes and plays, whoever, Alabama or whoever in the first round because they cannot get a bye. I've got them projected 6 now. Actually, got to fix this because I don't have BYU slated anywhere. BYU is going to be out of the playoff as we talk today, in my mind. Notre Dame can't get a bye. Notre Dame has to play every game. They don't play in a conference. There's no way for them to get one of the top 4 picks. They can finish number 1, and they can't get a bye, which probably won't happen. But I asked Paul Spada if he's a gator or a duck when they play. By the way, Florida and Billy Napier now, after a horrible performance against Texas last week, beats LSU. LSU is just falling apart at the seams. I'm wondering whether he's lost control there, Brian Kelly. I haven't heard him mention the Gators, by the way, so I'm not sure where that comes from, Danny, so that might be pre-TGI Sports Talk for Paul. Paul, you're allowed to defend yourself here. Oh, there you go, duck. There you go. Paul, I'll ask Danny. Rather than have Danny explain it for me, Paul, I can let you do that and tell me, were you a Gator fan at one point and jump ship? You have the full floor to defend yourself here. Chris, on the coattails of Drew's comment, maybe MLB we should bring back expanded rosters for the first month of the season to be used in a good way to give prospects who had a good spring a taste of the bigs. They get that at the end of the season. I'm not sure if I'm in favor of that or not. And now here's what I would do. I would say yes. Chris, I would say yes, but we have to have, you can expand our rosters if you want for the first month, but you have to designate, 24, 25 guys, whatever it is now, for each game. You can't have, to me, I don't even like it in September where you've got an unlimited, basically. And many teams don't bring guys up because of service time. In the old days, you'd have 40 guys sitting in that freaking dugout and you can use them all. And that's not cool. You got to be able to, I might be okay with the idea as long as we designate 24 guys to play each game that are available to play each game, right? Gators in the Tebow days. Well, again, I don't want to seem like a bandwagon jumper. I root for, again, I'm rooting for Notre Dame because I have money on them. So that's not jumping bandwagons. I'm a Hurricane fan, but not lifelong. In college football, I have pretty much always followed good stories. Now, would I call myself an Indiana fan because I root for Indiana to beat Ohio State next week? No. Even if I sing the praises of a Boise State. Well, I got a little bit different role in this because I need to talk about these teams and the teams I like and the teams I don't like. But I root for good stories. Tebow in Florida were a great story at the time. Oregon, I'm not sure how you got to Oregon, Paul, but I guess you're going to tell me how you got there. I don't agree. Giante's going to finish second. Here's my predicted order finish. Hunter, Giante, and Cam Ward. Because you can talk about, and Giante's a great player. I've had Giante in the top two pretty much since about the fourth week of the season, Paul. But the reason I don't have him number one is he doesn't play 130 plays a game. 130 plays Travis Hunter played yesterday. He contributes on defense and he contributes on offense. It's not just a token presence on offense like Charles Woodson had. He was a good offensive player. He would play 3 or 4 snaps a game on offense, maybe, and return punts. Travis Hunter is the best player in this college football season. He will be the best player available in the NFL draft next year. Giante's a great player. Great player. 25 touchdowns, huge. Set Boise State rushing records yesterday. He's been tremendous. Taking nothing away from Giante. But Travis Hunter's doing something special, something that doesn't happen anymore. It hasn't happened for 6 decades probably, where guys have played both ways 100% of the time, basically. And that's something you can't just disqualify and say, well, Cam Ward is the best quarterback and Giante's the best running back. And what is Travis Hunter? He's a defensive player. No, he's a wide receiver and a defensive back, and he contributes on both sides. Giante's a great player. And I think he'll be sitting there in December in New York, as I think will Cam Ward, depending on whether they're playing or not that day, I guess. But I think that's the day of the Army-Navy game, right? So, anyway, I think it's just an amazing season that Travis Hunter has. He's a once in a generation player now. We don't see this. You're not going to see this for a while. You're not going to start seeing a bunch of guys play 130 plays a game. I know Danny. I think Danny said Friday he didn't think he was going to win. I thought he put up Heisman Trophy contender ? He's the best player in the country. Anywhere you look, he is a favorite. LSU played like they wanted to lose, dropping balls all day. The quarterback literally ran around in circles before he took a few sacks. James, I don't know if you're here with it. James Martin, a huge LSU fan that I do the big football show with on Sundays and the professional sports show on Wednesday nights before my college football show. He's a huge LSU fan, often pops in the show, at least for a bit. Can't be happy. I think Brian Kelly could be in some trouble. And the problem is, this is the problem with giving guys 10-year contracts. They get 3 years in, Speaking of contracts, I got to talk about some of the Soto offers I've seen. What was I talking about? Oh, you give them 10 years and you're 3 years in and you still owe them $70 million to go away. And we've seen it happen at Michigan State. We've seen it happen at Texas A&M, where they pay their coaches to go away. Tens of millions of dollars. Knowledgeable viewers. We do have very knowledgeable viewers, or knowable viewers. Knowable. The K is silent, Paul, so it's okay to leave it off. We do have knowledgeable viewers here. Everybody's opinion is very good. Paul, your opinion about Giante is correct. He's a great player. In another year, I think he would win the Heisman Trophy. I just don't think it'll be this year. We'll see. Drew says expanded MLB rosters would be interesting in April, Chris, though it used to be done usually in September. Could be a nice twist as players still need ramp-up time. I agree. But again, in September, it's different. Remember, Drew, and they still do it. They still have the ability to do it. Very few teams bring up many guys. They might bring up one. Some bring up nobody. Some bring up a handful of guys. In the old days, they'd bring up 10 guys. You'd have 35 guys sitting on your bench, and you could put in pinch runners, and you could use 20 pitchers in a game. That's probably an exaggeration, but you could in the pennant race. To me, I don't like that aspect. I think you need to be, and they may do it now. I'm not positive in the fall too. Designate 24 guys that are going to be available for that night's game, and I'm okay doing it in April under that auspices. But teams aren't going to do it either because, again, one of the reasons they stopped in September is service time. We know that service time is a huge thing with Major League Baseball teams. Kenny's on the Notre Dame. Oh, Jesus. The Notre Dame punt again. That call was the second one to call a touchdown back that series. As for numbers, I think he thinks it's BS. Some teams have guys that are runners on the line as gunners, made up rule because the confused drafts. It's not a made up rule. The rule's in the book. Whether it should be is probably the question. But there are rules in the book of who can be, and again, they've changed these a lot recently, right? There used to be rules. You could not play linebacker unless you're wearing certain numbers, or linemen. Now linemen wear single-digit numbers on defense. On offense, I think it's still a little bit more uniform where there needs to be, it's a real rule is all I'm going to say. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, but I agree. I think it's got to do who snaps the ball and who catches the ball more than anything else. And were the refs confused? Two different things. It's a real rule. Were the refs confused? Possibly. And again, it was a blowout, so it doesn't affect anything. But the officiating, I will say this, and we talked about it. I don't know where I talked about this last week, somewhere. Oh, I think I talked about it with Jeremy when he popped in the show on Friday morning, that, I steadfastly say you can never blame losing a game on referees. Now, Notre Dame didn't lose this game. There were no danger of losing this game. But you should never blame a loss on a referee. Don't put yourself in a position to be lost by referees, lost by calls by referees. Lose by calls made by referees. My granddaughter talks better than I do sometimes. Got to use a treat yesterday. Wow, man. Sorry, just had a moment of reflection. But even with that said, even what I just said, don't let referees cost you a game. That does not mean, both things can be true here. That does not mean there's horrible officiating going on everywhere you watch. College football, the NFL, MLB, the NBA, everywhere. Everywhere. It's an epidemic and it needs to be fixed. And I don't know if the answer is, we're going to text from let's just see what we got here in case it's somebody trying to tell me something important. FedEx. I don't know what needs to be done. Full-time referees would probably, MLB has full-time umpires. Is that helping? Well, I shouldn't say that. Again, I don't want my friend Dale Scott, former MLB umpire and a good friend of this show, and one of my favorite interview subjects about his book. I think he's got a new book out. We'll have to get him back on the show. The Umpire is Out was the name of the book. We had a great interview with Dale, and I don't want to. He gets mad, I know, and I understand his profession comes under attack. Most of the Major League Baseball umpires are really good. You got a handful though that stand out, and people see that as the norm. And I think that's the same in college football and pro football. And maybe the answer is full-time refs. I'm not sure. But there's been bad refereeing everywhere I look this year. The fight was what it should be. Who wants Tyson clock? I didn't. Billy, I said the biggest thing, no, it shouldn't be, by the way. That was a con to put him out there. A fight is not a guy being carried for 8 rounds by the guy he's fighting. The fight should never have happened. I thought the travesty of this whole thing, and I started to get into this and I kind of got sidetracked. All the shows I went on thought Tyson was going to win this fight. And I was like, well, whether you think Tyson will win the fight or won't win the fight isn't really the discussion. How does Tyson get a license to box? Where was this? Texas? I don't think he could have got a license to fight in New York. 58 years old? They likely shopped this fight to a bunch of states before he could even get a license because the danger is there that he could get hurt seriously. His brain is not 100% anyway and hasn't been for decades. But the travesty here is that he gets a license to fight at all, and the rest of it might as well have been professional wrestling. Yeah, I liked that when I was 20. Thank God this didn't cost me any money. I wouldn't have paid for this. If this was a normal pay-per-view and it would be, $80 or $100, I'm not buying it. But suckers would have bought it. And it's still a big con. Those guys got $60 million, and God bless them. Somebody's willing to pay them. Again, Keith's opinion there is they've earned it. Oh, no, sorry, not earned it. They deserve whatever somebody wants to give them. Now, whether they earn it is a different story. This was a giant con and a waste of my time and sleep, man. I could have had 3 hours more sleep. Some of the earlier fights I didn't watch much of the earlier. I tuned in. I saw some of the, oh my God, though. The way the announcers, the guy who was doing the interviewing and talking about, Jesus, I'd be canceled if I talked about these guys the way they were talking about them, for crying out loud, and their ethnicities and whatnot. Jesus, good grief. Not that I think we should be concerned about that, but I think of all the people that say things that are considered offensive. There was a lot of weird freaking commentary going on in this show, let me tell you. And I found the whole thing. The problem was, even with the earlier fights, Rick, the production was horrendous. I watched the women's fight because I tuned in, I don't know. I tuned back in for good about 11, thinking I'd see the fight within a half an hour, and I didn't. The women didn't fight on mine until about 11:30. So it was like 12:30 before Tyson and Paul got out there. And I tuned in, I think, just in time to see the shot of Mike Tyson's ass, which, thank you, I did not need at 11 o'clock Friday night. I'm not a prude, and I don't care that much, but did they not know when he turned around we were going to see his ass hanging out? Netflix, please. If your football coverage is going to be like this, I don't know where they're getting. I don't know how Netflix is doing. Now, remember, Netflix is now in the football business. Christmas Day, they have 2 games. I think it's Christmas Day. They have 2 games. If they're doing their own production and this is what we can expect, and it's going to take me 6 hours to watch a game because it's going to buffer for 3 of them, I'm not interested. I don't care. I've come to grips with the fact that, sports is going to the streaming world, and if you weren't a Netflix subscriber, you were going to have to pay. And I guarantee you they got a bunch of new subscribers, but I also guarantee you they got a bunch of people that called and, canceled right afterwards. They paid their $24.95, and that's all they're going to pay. But if this is indicative of the way their football production will be, I want nothing to do with it. And I don't know for a fact whether they're producing their own or they're just going to have NBC or somebody's NBC, whoever, NBC, ABC, CBS, whoever's announcers and production teams do it. I pray to God that's what's happening, because if not, those football games are going to be unwatchable. $2 million would go a long way in supporting our veterans. Yeah. Where's that $2 million being referenced from, though? See the kick yesterday, by the way, on game day? $800,000. Pat McAfee gave away yesterday. Some of that's ESPN, some of that's Home Depot. I know that, but the kid who kicked it, I think they picked the girl and then they said she could get a I didn't see when they brought him out first, but I believe they picked a girl and then they said, if you want to get and I'm sure this offended somebody. if you want to get a surrogate to kick for you, you can do that. And they had a guy there who kicked, and they both were going to get $100,000, and then he upped it to $200,000, and he doubled the hurricane relief from $200,000 to $400,000, and the kid drilled it. He should be kicking for some of these NFL teams. So I'm not sure where that $2 million comes from, Danny. Tyson says he won. So many people, so much money wasted on a has-been, a boxer who needed the notoriety. I'm sure he needed the money. Interesting what people choose to do with their time. Well, everybody's entitled to do whatever they want with their time, by the way. I'll just comment on that. I'm not happy with myself that I spent, now I watched some high school football. I watched the Section 2 championship game, CBA and Shaker, until about 11 o'clock or close to it. So that took me up to the fights that I thought I'd see. So I only wasted 2 hours and 2.5 hours on my thing. So, but again, people get to do what they want. People watch soap operas. I mean, people watch reality TV. Reality TV is the most. I have this theory about reality TV, is that's why people fly into our buildings and knock us down. It's the crap we watch on TV, and this would probably fit the bill too. By the way, as far as the type being rigged, it may have been, but it wasn't rigged so that he lost. He didn't win this fight. If you watched it, Jake Paul, after about the 3rd round, somebody tell me if I'm wrong, Jake Paul could have taken him out pretty much at any time. Tyson was out there gassed, totally gassed. Maybe the 2nd round he was gassed. But from the 3rd round on, specifically, he was gassed and he was taking some shots. And there was times I'm thinking, don't get out of the corner. You're going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt. All I could see was Apollo Creed getting killed in the ring. And I know it isn't real. Against Ivan Drago. Don't do it. Mike Tyson, by the way, go back to Drew's comment about I don't think Mike Tyson needs any more notoriety, by the way, but money, probably. I remember, unless they're going to make more Hangover movies, I think he was in another movie recently, though. I'm sure Mike Tyson's got some money, but he doesn't strike me as a guy who probably manages his money very well. I know that a few years back, this is many years back, it's probably 15 years ago, probably 15 years ago. I was reading an article about Mike Tyson, and he had some legal and money issues at the time. He might have been filing bankruptcy, actually. Yeah, I think he was going through some bankruptcy stuff. And his income tax return for that year showed total income of $25. And I thought, first of all, who puts $25 down? Put zero down. Who puts $25 down as my earned income? What did he do? He mowed a lawn? What did he do? There's no way he certainly won this fight, that's for sure. They should refund us all $130 of a month for that crap. No, well, I'm not asking for a refund. I pay for Netflix monthly anyway. If you paid for it specifically for the fight, well, then maybe you deserve some money back. But again, there's a million pieces of content on Netflix. I could watch whatever I want. To Drew's point, I chose to watch this drivel. They didn't do it well. My bigger problem with this whole thing is not even the con that they put on as a fight. It's an exhibition. Didn't count for anything except people making money. My whole problem is Netflix wants in the sports business. They've been bidding on lots of things, and they're going to win something at some point, just as Amazon has. Now, Amazon had some production issues early on, but not anything like what we saw on Netflix. My big problem is you want the NFL, you better do a much better freaking job of producing an event than you did with this. This was a train wreck from the freaking beginning. I cannot think of one redeeming aspect of that telecast. Forget about the content of the fights. And as Rick said, there was a couple decent fights there. I really enjoyed the fight the women had. But the overall production of this show and the people they put in play to bring it to us was abysmal. I don't think I've ever seen a train wreck like that, ever. The production on this show isn't that bad. Maybe that's overrated. Maybe that's a little hyperbole on my part. Prorated. I watched when Flutie Flakes. I watched when Flutie was playing a little bit. He was a monster in Canada. What? Darren, wide receiver, Hall of Fame. Who? I'm not sure what that is, Paul. You got to help me out. How weird rules. Keep looking at MLB rules now, and NFL talk about rules. No, listen, I'm not saying that it's good rules. I'm just saying it's in the rule books. And yeah, the rules are getting ridiculous for sure. We put rules in to enforce things that are already in the rule book. In MLB, we want to put rules in to take violence out of professional and college football. It's a violent game. Guys know the dangers. I'm just tired of it. Tired of it. I'm okay with human error. Paul was hoping Tyson would pop Paul away with his famous left hook in the last round. Yeah, well, you know what? I've been fighting sleep for about 5 hours, and I had more energy than Tyson had by the 8th round. There's no way he was knocking him out in the 8th round. Tyson had one chance in his fight, as I said. Assuming it wasn't scripted from the beginning. Maybe it was. I'm not a big conspiracy fan guy, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to compare the script. This script was out before the fight, FYI. And we'll see how that goes. Oh, sorry, just caught by Bill Clinton on Sunday, CBS Sunday Morning. He's made up very good. He looks about 20 years younger than he normally looks. What was I going to get at? If Mike Tyson was going to win this fight, it was going to be like in the first 30 seconds of the fight. Otherwise, he was going to be spent. And that's exactly what happened. He was spent. You see how heavy he was breathing in the second round? Now, I'd be breathing that hard, getting off my stool and walking to the middle of the round or the ring. Eli Moraro, one of the interesting utility guys in baseball and, geez, when 90s? 51. Yeah, probably the 90s. He was a valuable guy to have on a team at the time. Played with the Cardinals for a long time. Might have played with the Diamondbacks. I'd have to look him up to see. But happy birthday to Eli Moraro. He was a very good MLB player. Linda's laughing. I'm not sure about what. Probably the fact that Jack and I talked about the fight for 20 minutes on Friday. Mahomes doesn't cry. No, but all you haters, not you, Billy, necessarily, but all you haters, if you're a hater, and again, that's not necessarily people here watching today. Got a nice crowd today so far, by the way. You all say he cries. There are people who certainly say Patrick Mahomes cries and gets calls just like Tom Brady. Tom Brady didn't freaking cry. Tom Brady was a freaking competitor, and Billy's trying to get the itch award by pushing my Tom Brady button, and it's not going to work today. Or did it already work? Get me wound up for, what's that guy's name? Who was watching a college football show Wednesday night and remembers a guy that I got in an argument with last Sunday where we watched the games? Chris Dragula, was that his name? I don't remember. Anybody watching from the club this morning? I doubt it. 9:30. Billy, I have to say, Rick, Kenny, and Danny, since you're the main contenders for this Itch Award, the Bill Pulver Itch Award, which we named in his honor, Billy's making a very strong run, impersonating Kenny last week, continuing to try to push the Tom Brady button. Bill Pulver making a late and strong run. With what do we got? 6 weeks left in the season. We'll have a big award show that night on the Sunday morning show. When does January? What's our first show in January? What's that going to be? January. Whoops, went too far. Our first show in January is going to be the 1st. Is that right? No, that's December. Where's January? No, that'd be the 1st. That can't be right. I hate this calendar. My work calendar sucks. January 1st is on a Wednesday. So our first show would be on the 5th of January, and we'll be giving out the Itch Award. Maybe I'll buy a trophy from Danny. Maybe we should talk. Send me some examples of what you would portray. You know what the Itch Award is for, right? It should be some kind of I think we'd have a mouth involved on the trophy. I don't know. Just thinking out loud. Maybe a brain, maybe a giant brain. I'll buy a trophy and I'll get it to the person that wins this award. And if Danny wins it, I won't have to pay any shipping. Tiger news. I just hope I'm alive at 58. Analyst recalls how Tiger Woods once shared he couldn't imagine playing golf that old. Well, he doesn't have to worry because he can't play golf now at 42, whatever he is. Yes, when Tebow played. That's about Paul and his Gator fandom. What do you think of NFL parlays? You can speak up here, Danny. Green Bay minus 6.5 and over 41. I believe Malik Willis is playing. That's my only worry there. Who are they playing today, by the way? Again, let's look at the. We'll do our picks here in a little bit, and we'll review the standings. Where are who the Packers got? This stuff just pops right out of my freaking brain. I don't even have them. Oh, because I'm on. No, it's the 17th, right? Yeah. Oh, Packers and Bears. Malik Willis going into Chicago. Listen, Chicago hasn't played good football. Caleb Williams has regressed in the last month or so. Shake up in the coaching staff. Bears season on the line. I'd be a little worried about giving 6.5 with Malik Willis on the road. 41, the over, maybe. I like. Colts money line. I don't like the Colts at all. I like the Jets today, even minus the points. And under 44, maybe. Tennessee +6. I have a hard time betting all these games. I like the Jets today, actually, as much as I hate to bet them. I don't know. I'll probably bet them. I don't. Boy, Tennessee getting 5.5 at home. I usually like teams playing as home dogs, AC, but I have trouble when they don't have a quarterback. I like the Dolphins today, -7. I like the Jets -4. I like Denver a little bit. We're going to get into the picks. I like Kansas City a lot tonight. Give me 2. I got to see what they are in the cigar box, but not in love with any of those picks myself. Danny, who's more of a parlay better than me. I don't bet parlays as a rule. Once in a while, I'll, for fun, if I got a few dollars in my draft, just a few dollars left for some reason before I got to re-up my DraftKings, I'll bet a $5 16 for the hell of it. Good morning, Dave Guyette, up in Amsterdam, New York. How are you? Good to have you with us. I'm going to see your Syracuse team play in a couple of weeks as we take my stepson and his girlfriend up to see his Miami Hurricanes and his mom's Miami Hurricanes and now my Miami Hurricanes, I guess. And Diane will go just because the rest of us are going. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure she's going to be happy to be going. I still like them, but became an Oregon fan watching the great Bo Nix. He was great in college, for sure. Great quarterback in college. If you're an Auburn fan, you probably disagree with that statement. Bo Nix played very well in the Pac-12, which is a much different conference than the SEC. I'm not knocking. I thought there was some good football played in the Pac-12, just a different type of football, and it's made for Bo Nix. I get it. He's like Ohtani, baseball great on both sides of the ball. Hey, see, when Ohtani pitches, Ohtani plays no defense, but he is a two-way player when he pitches, but only every fourth day. Still different than what Travis. Look at. Don't be confused. I'm not telling you Travis Hunter is going to play both ways in the NFL. Will he get a look on the offensive side of the football? Most definitely. And whatever team drafts him, I'm sure will have some plays in their playbook for Travis Hunter. He's going to be a defensive back, and he's going to play sporadically on offense. He's not playing 130 games in the NFL. Nobody does that. Great player. Just is. Problem with drafting Travis Hunter is he won't be able to play both sides of the NFL. And I get that. But he's also, you can draft him either way. He might be the best receiver in college, and he might be the best cornerback. He'll be drafted as a defensive player who will contribute on offense. So we will play both sides, as I just said, AC. He's just not going to play 130 plays a game. And again, I don't know whether I'm not even saying, I am saying he's the best player in college. I think he'll be the best player in the draft. That doesn't mean he's going to get drafted number 1. I will say this, the quarterback class is very iffy. If I end up with the number 1 pick and there's a race, we know the Patriots aren't taking it. If I'm the Giants, I'm trading out of that pick. They need a quarterback, but draft one later and try to just wait a year. This is not a good place to be betting your franchise's future in the first 5, maybe 10 picks. I think Giante playing for Boise State hurts his chances a little bit. William Aikens, welcome to the show. Good to have you with us. Who do you root for, by the way, William? If you haven't been, I don't know if William's been with us before or not, but we welcome you to the show. And I do agree that playing at Boise State hurts Giante probably more than a little bit. He's going to get he doesn't play on national TV. They play a lot of games late at night on a Saturday or on a Friday even. And he's not part of the Eastern. There was always this Eastern bias or whether it was real or perceived. I don't think that's quite the deal today. But when you're playing in relative obscurity in Boise, Idaho, in the Mountain West, which is a better football conference than people give it credit for, it definitely is going to hurt you for sure, William. So Good to have you with us today, and hopefully you join us more often and continue to comment. And we'd love to know who you root for, William, as I like to find out when people first join us. And if you have before, I apologize. No, Nix couldn't beat the Huskies. Well, there is that. Listen, Bo Nix was a great college quarterback at Oregon, except against Washington and except when he played in the SEC. I mean, he was a great college quarterback for 2 seasons at Oregon. I won't take that away from him. I don't think he's a great NFL quarterback, and nor do I think he will be. Bauer Power. Why didn't you hit one of the 41 hit one of the 41 through you? Trevor Bauer calls out Mexican League opponent for asking for a fastball. I remember I saw that video. That was a while ago, I think, right? Trevor, I said this, I think, on the we were talking about, because I think it was when the Voigt conversation came up, Chris. Well, I see Voigt getting a chance to be a DH somewhere. Won't be New York, by the way. I don't know that he'll make a team. I'm not even sure Bauer, who's a much better player, and I'm not going to disregard his stats in the Mexican League because he can pitch in the major leagues. He could come in. He'd come into the major leagues. He might be one of the top 10 starters, top 15 starters in baseball. Question is, do I want him on my team? Because again, forget about these charges that were fabricated, I guess. Still not sure myself. There's probably still something there. He's not a good guy to begin with. He's not a good teammate. He's not a good person in general. I don't see a guy who's like turned his life around. And whether he should get another chance, again, it's not for me to say. It's for individual teams to say. And I don't want him on my team. If I'm running a team, I certainly don't want to be rooting for the guy. But if he wears pinstripes, I'll find a way. Paul says he's just sorry that he picked the short stick in the college football draft and picked last, so I didn't have any chance at Giante. But listen, I get that comment. 25 touchdowns is 25 touchdowns, and I am in no way bashing Giante. He's a great college running back who sadly probably won't get drafted in the first round of the NFL because we don't draft running backs that high because we don't want to pay them. And you're seeing again, I think now, running backs are still very valuable. And the NFL has never said the running game is not valuable. This is where people get confused, too, with running backs in the NFL. The NFL is not saying that running the football is not important in games. That's not what they're saying. That's not why guys aren't getting paid. What they're saying is we can replace player A with player B for less money and get the same type of production. They will not pay for production that they feel they can get out of any number of players. Now, whether that's right or not is not for me to say. But running the football is still important in the NFL. Look at the Eagles. Every team, even the Patriots in their heyday, they ran the ball at the end of games, except in 2007, maybe when they run up the score against everybody. But they would often run the ball to close out games. You have to run the ball with some kind of effectiveness to win in the NFL. AC, the numbers matching up with the position is better, is a better rule than the kickoff rule where the receiving team can step out of bounds, touch the ball, and then it somehow is a penalty on the kicker. Well, I won't argue with that. There are any number. College football, we talk about the pros in the NFL and MLB. College has got some really stupid rules as well. They need to revisit the targeting rule, by the way, as well. I get why we need the rule. But to me, there probably ought to be a warning. And second of all, the way guys are so fast and so quick and so agile, if you will. There are many helmet-to-helmet hits that are because of the offensive player and where he's moved his own head. I may have started to make my move to make a tackle, and the guy ducks into me, and now it's helmet-to-helmet, and I'm getting tossed out of the game. Which is why the college just tried to put some things in that there's got to be an intent to launch and lower your head. And they try to make it better, and I think it is a bit better. But sometimes the rule is not consistent. The rule is not, what's the word I want to say? It's not enforced consistently. That's the problem with any rule. Any rule is probably okay as long as I shouldn't say that. Most rules are okay as long as you enforce it consistently. FedEx is delivering my new Mets and Bills gear. Not this kid. I've been on this team since 1970. I've been on the Yankees since 1969. 9 and 10 years old. I ain't moving. I've seen a lot of good years and a lot of bad years on both those teams. We don't move. Only Brady can criticize the refs on air and always get away with it. Actually, he can't now. He gets fined, and he's an NFL owner, so he has a list of rules, Bill, about this long. He got fined for that. What else would you like? Well, maybe he didn't get fined. Maybe he just got warned. And by the way, other announcers do criticize. And by the way, don't put me in the bucket of defending Brady as announcer because I think he's horrendous. I said he would be horrendous, and he is horrendous. He's not as bad as Tony Romo, but that's a different story. I don't see a lot of insight offered. Plenty of guys criticize refs. Plenty of guys criticize players. I don't think Brady can do it enough because he's got a list of rules this long. I can't get my fingers. You can't see my hand. He's got a list of rules that would fill up this notepad that he can't do on the air. How do you do your job that you're getting paid? What? What's he getting paid? For $37 million a year. Is that right? Am I got the numbers right? I keep mixing this one up. I think it's $375 million for 10 years. He can't do his job with the restrictions that the NFL's put on him because he's an owner, 10% owner of the Raiders. And I'm not defending him because he sucks in the booth. They granted Rocky a license in Philly because it was his right. That's a movie. Oh God! I think Stallone would have had a better shot in the ring that night than Tyson did. Thank you, Danny. You're the man. The itch is back. Billy's going all scorched earth basically now, trying to win this award back. I love it. Oh, when the crippled state. Well, that's a very good point here. And let me read the whole comment for a. With the crippled state boxing is in for popularity, what do you have to look forward to next? Nothing. Most won't remember the names of the other fighters on the cards. I won't. We're on track for celebrity boxing for main events. Possibly Jake Paul's already called out some other boxers. I mean, you can't have celebrities. We tried celebrity boxing, right? It doesn't work. People don't watch. It's just reality TV. Again. Lowest common denominator TV is what I like to call it. And no, I don't watch any reality TV. Once in a while, I'll watch a baking show my wife has on, or love it or list it. Real estate shows, big deal. Not a big fan of reality TV. I think it's all nonsense, and it stops being reality the minute the cameras come on. But that's what I don't want to see sports as reality TV in the sense of what we consider reality TV now. Scripted nonsense. Your part about the crippled state of boxing is absolutely 100%. The golden age of boxing is gone. When I grew up, I loved boxing. I barely know. Once in a while, Mac will throw a boxing question at me. I don't know who the hell these fighters even are. Heavyweight division is non-existent. Jake Paul's not a heavyweight fighter, as far as I know. I could be wrong, but I think he's a cruiserweight or whatever. They got so many divisions, I don't even know what that is. But when I was a kid in the 70s and 80s, and even at Tyson's time into the 90s, well, 90 is that what I feel like 90 is when Buster Douglas knocked him out. Even Evander Holyfield to a certain point, Lennox Lewis, we had some good champions and interesting fights. But then the pay-per-views got crazy, and you had to stay up all night to see the end of it. And the quality got bad. I didn't complain, to be honest with you, when I watched. And Mike Tyson, I know very well the people that founded Mike Tyson. Bobby Stewart, I know very well, worked at Tryon Boys School in Fulton County, about 3 miles from where I lived. Bobby and John Doviak and Bobby Sherlock, Charlie Beekman, all these guys who worked at Tryon, they knew this kid, and he wasn't a great kid. But Bobby Stewart, who he did get some recognition with Tyson recently before this fight, there was some event going on. I can't remember what it was, but Bobby was there, and I thought it was kind of cool that he called him out. But I would watch the Tyson fights early when he fought around here. He fought at the Egg. He fought some other smaller venues and was just destroying people. And even when he got to be the world champion and he was knocking guys out in a round, and you're paying, whatever, $75 or maybe it was $50 at the time. I didn't feel like I got cheated out of my money because I saw a really electric fighter who looked like he could never be beat until he got that one punch from Buster Douglas and changed everything. Jake Paul versus Trump. Maybe in a pillow fight, maybe in the professional pillow fighting, we put these two guys in there. Some of us might want to see a more severe punishment here. Well, we won't get into that. Sorry we get behind comments and subject. Yeah, it is hard. It's hard because you guys are so really good at commenting. I do my best to keep up, but I also have to talk a little bit. That's okay. We get behind and I go back. And usually I remember 2 million references to the celebrity. Oh, yeah, 2 million for seats. Oh, yeah. Yeah, right. So here's the deal. Did you see these seats? They're basically ringside seats, and they were comfortable. They had little couches, and they had food, which looked like the mini bar in a hotel. It looked like there was little bags of chips and whatever. And you're sitting in front of the ring with a glass, I think, so you couldn't get spit on or get sweat on you like you would normally at a fight. Plus, you got a TV sitting right there. You got the fight 5 feet from you, but I got to have a TV too. I guarantee you Jerry Jones raked it in for this freaking fight too. Who had him propped up? His interview looked like it was a Weekend at Bernie's moment. Who was moving his mouth and doing the voice? Just a little FYI on Mike Tyson. He has a cartoon on Cartoon Network, starring as himself. The cartoon's much more interesting than the fight. I've never seen this, and I probably won't go looking for it, AC, but that's interesting. That's interesting. Netflix got WWE starting in January, I think. If they can handle that, then maybe they can handle pro sports. I don't know how to respond, AC. WWE is fun and fine for people, and I followed the WWF before it had to be changed legally. I've heard I got to watch the McMahon thing on Netflix. By the way, I heard it's really, really good, and I do have it in my queue. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. So much to watch now. Yellowstone's back. Tulsa King is winding down its season. These shows are so good. There's so many things to watch right now. Lioness, I haven't even started yet. We've gotten hooked on, by the way. This is here comes the stream of consciousness. We've gotten hooked on. If you haven't seen this and you have Hulu, you got to watch Only Murders in the Building with Steve Martin and Martin Short and Selena Gomez. It is such a witty show. Well done. We were willing to watch 2 seasons. But it's very, very good. But again, back to the WWE. Did follow it in my 20s, which was 40 years ago, when Hulk Hogan was in his heyday, and I don't watch it anymore. I'm not sure if they handle that well. I still want to handle the NFL, but based on what I saw Friday night, that was just a shit show from the beginning. Excuse my French. Darren Flutie. Oh, I got you, Darren Flutie. Was it Darren Flutie? Yeah, I think you're probably right. Wide receiver, Hall of Fame Canadian. You would know, Paul, I guess, being in Wisconsin. I don't know what that means. Paul was talking about the often overlooked Darren Flutie. There you go. Who was in the CFL Hall of Fame. Joe Theismann, another name to throw out there. Joe Theismann went to Canada to play out of Notre Dame. He wanted to play quarterback because nobody would let him play quarterback in the NFL when he got drafted. In fact, when he came to the NFL, I think the Dolphins drafted, if I'm not mistaken, and he got traded to the Redskins. And the Redskins, he returned punts for the Redskins because he just wanted to play. And Joe Theismann was already probably, I don't know, by the time he started for the Redskins, he had to be close to 30 years old, probably. Underlooked, he was a very good quarterback. And by the way, his name used to be, I'm sure most of you know this story, but at Notre Dame, he was Joe Theismann, and the promotion department told him, if you change your name, it would rhyme with Heisman, which he did. And he did not win the Heisman, but was a contender. Good quarterback in college. Really fine quarterback in Canada. I want to try to remember. I think he played with the Argonauts, if I'm not mistaken. You can correct me, Chris. You'd know better than I would. But Jake Paul was out of shape too. He looked spent. I don't disagree with that, but not quite as spent as Tyson. Listen, Jake Paul is a he's a, what do they used to call he's a carny barker. That's all he is. I mean, if he fought against real boxers back in the day when there's some real boxers. Again, I don't follow it, so I can't disparage people I don't watch. Where are we time-wise? Okay. He'd get killed. Imagine him fighting Joe Frazier in his prime. Wouldn't happen. Kenny, great point. I'll bring it up again. I think I brought it up. I may have brought it up last Sunday. I know I brought it up on the college football huddle on Wednesday, but we'll talk about this real quick again. 2 big-time college football. I think you're talking about the same 2 I am, unless I missed something. John Robinson, who took over for John McKay when he left to go to the Tampa Bay Bucks and lose 26 games in a row. John Robinson took over the USC Trojans, won a national championship, I think in 1979, coached Marcus Allen to a Heisman Trophy, had a great first run at USC, coached the Rams, was very successful his first 7 years. I think he was there a total of 9. He was the all-time Rams victory leader until McVay passed him, I think, this past year. One of the more successful guys to coach on both levels. When he left the Rams, he eventually went back to the Trojans, didn't do quite as well, and also coached UNLV for a short period of time. Great coach, real good friend of John Madden's, they grew up together, went to high school together. In fact, he was coaching Madden's secondary, I think, when he was brought back to USC. He was the offensive coordinator, went to the NFL, came back to replace John McKay. And also the second one, I would think, Kenny, you're referring to his former Notre Dame coach, Jerry Faust, who didn't have a great career, But every one of his players has said what an upstanding person Jerry Faust was. And they all had his back. He didn't do well. He got the one bowl game, I think, when he had bookend. He did complete his whole 5-year contract somehow. He went 5-6 his first year, 5-6 his last year. I think the best season they had was 7-4, maybe something like that. A legendary high school coach at Moeller High School said he'd never leave there except to get the oh, Tim Tricurla. Thank you, Rick. He would never leave Moeller except to get take the Notre Dame job, and he did, and he was just overmatched there. But his players loved him. I think I said this when it came up the other day. Danny Fuller had maybe in the TGI Sports Talk chat. I said he was a good person put into a tough situation for him. He was just overmatched, but important. Plus, his tenure looks even worse when you compare it to the fact that he was preceded by Dan Devine, who had a really good run at Notre Dame, won a national championship, and then succeeded by Lou Holtz, who restored Notre Dame to great national prominence and also won a national championship. In fact, Notre Dame's last national championship in 1988. We hope that ends this year, right? AC and I for monetary reasons. Kenny as a big fan. Tim Dragula, thank you. If I'm going to get sued by somebody for I forgot the word again. Libel's written. I forgot it again. So if I verbally, I know the word. I can't think of it. You know what I'm talking about. Whatever. I'm moving on. Billy P. Jonathan. Itch. Retire your work calendar. I should. I want to retire it all together. Soon enough. You want to donate a trophy, Danny? That's awesome. I'll pay the shipping. I'll pay whatever you want, but we'll have to talk about it. I'll give you a address. You got to pick something out and show me. We need something with like a huge brain or a tiny brain. I have tiny brain. I'm not trying to offend anybody. I probably will anyway. Or big mouth, or I don't know, big button. Maybe a big button where we're pushing buttons. A finger and a button. It's probably undoable, but that'd be a cool one, I think. That should be the Itch Award. A button with a finger. What do you think, Danny? Am I on the right track? Not terribly creative here. We'll make it perpetual. What's that mean? The trophy, hold on. That trophy will get passed on to the next, you hang on to it for a year and then we have to pass it on like the Stanley Cup. Is that what we're talking about? Or you're going to send me a new one every year? I'm not really sure. Kenny's bowing out of the Itch Award. Seems like it's well above my mental capacity. No, Kenny, it's not. To be clear, you've held your own here. You've only fallen back here in recent weeks due to Billy really stepping up his game, Danny getting into the fray late in the season, mid-season, I guess. But you're still a contender. I mean, I wouldn't drop out. Now, I might have to vote you in just for that. Now, here's the other thing about the Itch Award. Let me go back to the Itch Award. I'm thinking what we'll do. I don't think it's fair that I just make the pick. But if I put it out there for you guys to vote, I'm afraid you'll just vote for yourselves. A little 5-way tie. I may put it to the group. I'll post it on. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll put out a post and I'll share it to all the groups too. So hopefully we can get a bunch of votes. And let the people who watch this content vote on it. Maybe we'll do that. Danny likes the Jets and the Dolphins. Danny and I like the two of the same bets today. Jets are playing on two bird engines. I would like to think this team will show some pride here at some point. Not a good football team they're playing. Richardson's back at quarterback. He stinks. He's terrible. Of course, the Jets quarterback hasn't been much better. I'm not sure. The last I heard, let's find out. Let's find out for AC what I know. There was a lot of talk this week. I'm going probably on too much talk. News on bro. Comparing Jordan Love to Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, 25 starts. Jordan really fueled by. Is he playing? Here's an injury update from yesterday. If Love's playing, then I might change my opinion there. All right, he practiced all week and will play without injury concern against the Bears. My bad. I was relying on conversations that happened without looking, conversations that happened all the week about Malik Willis, being competent, which I do not think he is. So there you go. There's an update for you. Jordan Love is in. Like that pick better now, AC. And I'm betting the over. I think that's the bet I got in that game. Over. Jets are just a stroke ahead of the killer whales. I'm sorry. Dolphins are just a stroke ahead of the killer whales. The sad part, it's 10 o'clock. I want to get to at least the picks here in a second. Let me go to the standings. The sad part in the AFC is not very good, right? So can I sort this by playoff? Can I do this? Yeah. So here's a playoff picture in the AFC. The AFC. What are there? 12 teams in each conference? No, sorry. There's 6 teams in each conference, right? So you got the Chargers at 6-3. Am I right? Is that? Yeah, 6 teams. So we go down all the way to the Chargers, 6-3. But these teams are the teams that have 3 wins. I mean, a lot of people are trying to say the Dolphins and the Jets have some life. So if you're going to tell me they have some life, don't I have to say the Patriots have some life at 3-7? I wouldn't say that in a minute. Bengals and Colts with 4 wins. The Broncos only a game behind. The AFC's not very good. The Texans haven't been as good as they have been. You saw they lost a game Monday night. They never should have lost to the Lions. Nico Collins coming back will help them. The Bills are 8-2, but I'm not sold that they're a great team. Kansas City even is vulnerable. They're the champions though, so good stuff. Where is Danny Fuller? He's in LA. Where do you think he is? He's here. You just commented up here. Jets and Dolphins. Travis Hunter won't last a year in the NFL. But Kenny, he's not going to play both ways. He's going to play quarterback and play 3 plays on offense, if that. Travis Hunter will be a great player in the NFL, I believe. And in any event, he's a great college player. A great, great college player. Oh, William, I'm sorry. His team is Pitt. Sorry we didn't get to this too fast, William. We fall behind the comments because there's so many. You guys are just the best when it comes to comment. We're going to go to our NFL picks here in just a bit. I'm going to give you my bets, though. I think I'm going with the over in that. And these are subject to change when I look at I'll give them to you when I go down the rundown. Pitt just gets eliminated, I think, yesterday, definitely from the ACC championship game. Good start for Pitt, getting off 6-0. They've now lost 3 in a row, and I wonder if Pat Narducci, William, is in trouble again. I should have guessed that from the pirate hat there in your picture. My bad. Matt's with us. Good morning, Matt. I started to watch some of the Tyson. I think it was you, Matt. Was it you that I was watching the Tyson fight on Facebook for a little bit and said, that's when I realized how far behind I was. The women had just finished up, and you had Tyson and Paul getting in the ring. And I turned it off because you're starting to buffer. And I said, well, I might as well wait for it to start live, plausibly live for me. But I think, Matt, it was your feed I was watching. I'm not sure. It could be somebody else too, so I apologize if it wasn't you. Paul Spada waiting to see what college team you will like next year. I'm guessing Rick Sherlock's quitters at FSU. We almost made it through a whole show without talk about the quitters at FSU. Trump's gloves, so I'll be Trump's gloves, so I'll be gold. I'm not sure what that means. I know. I'm sure whatever it means, it wasn't good. Free Trevor. Free. So AC thinks you think AC that Trevor Bauer should be back in the ranks of Major League Baseball. It's fine. I'm sure I do think some team will probably take a chance on him. And he will help some team until he implodes, throws a ball through the outfield fence, or, disrespects his manager and his teammates. I mean, whatever. Matt says the Bolts on Sunday Night Football. Hope they show up on national TV. Bengals. I like the Bengals a bit today, too. I'll probably take them in the pool, which I'm going to go through the pool picks in just a second. I wanted to get through a few more comments. Gosh, there's a lot here, though. Romo rips officials as well. They all rip the officials. Brady's been told he can't because he's a part owner of a team. Well, how do you do your job? 375 over 10 years, so I was right. 3.7 or 37.5. Decimal points, not important. Kudos to Rick for beating both our butts in the pick'ems. Rick's done very good. Texas is a fan of reality TV, the King versus Riggs. This was similar to Bobby Riggs against Billie Jean King. Except Billie Jean King was still pretty much on top of her game. And Bobby Riggs was 55 years old and hadn't played competitive tennis in a number of years. But let me get to the pick'ems real quick just so that we can get through this. In college yesterday, tough day. Top scorer was 6, by the way, by our two anonymous players. Beamer ball. Keith was at 3. Jesus Christ. We'll review that more on Wednesday night. But let me get to the pros so I can do my picks in front of you guys because we want this to all be on the up and up. Oh, where are the standings? Hold on. I got to do the standings first. So last week, we had a lot of 10s. Our ESPN generic guy had 10. Rick had 10. The Sports Nut had 10. Drew had 10. Keith had 10. Kenny had 10. Kenny too had 10. Poppy's got 2 picks all of a sudden. I'm not sure how. We can't add them together because you're playing twice. But pretty good job there twice, Kenny. If you made the same picks or different picks, I'm not sure what happened. So overall, our generic ESPN guy is still out there with 105. Should do it the different. That's all right. Rick has moved to within 1 now at 104. The Sports Nuts at 103. JB's at 102. Then we got Paul at 93. Big fall back from 4 to 5. Then Drew's tied, Drew's 1 behind Paul. Keith's 1 behind Drew. And then we get down to Poppy, 85. Are all your picks in there? I think they are, though. 153. I feel like you missed 1 week. I don't know how to figure out which one if I could add them together. If I could add them together, you'd probably be in 5th place, I'm going to guess, Kenny. Possibly. I'm not sure how to figure that out. I'd have to look for a week that you made a pick with your second one and not with your first one. Not sure how to figure that out. Anyway, this week's picks. Then we'll wrap up the comments, and then we'll move on with our day and watch some football. I had Philadelphia on a Thursday night. So we start our week with a winner for a change. I've got the Bears. I'm changing the Bears to Green Bay. I'm betting the over in that game. I believe the over was, what did we say it was? I hope I get the same number. 40.5 I got here. 41 AC said. I like the over in that game as well. The Lions, I'll take easily over the Jaguars, although I'm not crazy about the points. The Vikings, I'll take over Tennessee. Not a bet on the road. Miami, I like over the Raiders, -6. 7. Is that what they are? Patriots, by the way, getting 4.5 at home. Won't bet them. They're in play again this week, I'm telling you. 7 for Miami. I'll take the Patriots, of course, as I will never pick against my team. We'll take the Saints over the Browns. We'll take the Steelers over the Ravens. I'm going to buck the trend here, which is 69% in favor of the Ravens on ESPN. I'll take the Steelers to win this game. I'll take the Jets over the Colts. I'll take the Broncos at home over the Falcons. I like them a little with the points. Not sure about a bet there. What do I have? 2 bets so far? I got 3 I'll make in the cigar box. This could change depending on what odds I see there. 49ers, I'll take over the Seahawks, who are struggling a bit. I'm going to take the Chiefs over the Bills. Could be a bet. I'm going to take the Bengals over the Chargers, and I'm going to take the Texans over the Cowboys. So there's Keith's picks. Good luck with the games this week, guys, and we'll move on to back to the comments. Whew. Wow. Well, let me play something. Let's take a quick timeout we haven't done this in a while, and I'll do it for, I don't know who asked me to do it last time, but I'll do it for Danny or for Rick. They want to.
Keith Engle, the guy with the sports talk show. On the internet, he's the guy that we all know. If you love your sports, he's the guy for you. He has lots of shows on Roku. Keith Engle with the TGI Sports Talk Show.
Here you go. That's for Mac McGrath today, who's in the hospital recovering. Hopefully, Mac, you get to see that and get a good kind of chuckle. We're giving Mac McGrath life for a new a new career. John Jones, GOAT. Yeah, I don't get into the UCF. I know this was promoted heavily during the football games yesterday, I think on ABC and ESPN. I'm assuming he won last night. Not something I normally get into, AC. But congratulations to John Jones. And by the way, one of the big downfalls of professional boxing has been the rise of ultimate fighting or mixed, whatever we call it, MMA, ultimate fighting. I don't know what we call it officially, or I think they're the same thing. Drew says, I believe it was Dak who had his hand up the back of Jerry Jones in a ventricular. Didn't that it looked like a Weekend at Bernie's moment there, right? Jesus. He looked like they got him out of bed, put a suit on him, and just said, Jerry, we'll do the talking. I believe it's Drew, you know I have trouble with English. Let's not try to teach me French here today. Heisman was given to Plunkett. Yep, Jim Plunkett won that year. Became the Patriot quarterback and didn't win any Super Bowls there, but won 2 later on with the Raiders. Should Jim Plunkett be in the Hall of Fame, by the way? Shouldn't Jim Plunkett be in the Hall of Fame? I want to give a quick shout out. Speaking of Hall of Fames, and I'll get to this. I'll get to your comment here in a second, Chris. But I wanted to do this last week. Rennie LaRue, who I know watches the show from time to time, and if you're out there, Rennie, I hope you'll comment because you do a great job with the New York State Basketball Hall of Fame and the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame. He's got a new location out in Johnstown, New York, with an actual museum for the Baseball Hall of Fame. I think he might have a Hockey Hall of Fame as well, by the way. But he's got the Basketball Hall of Fame, I think, really kind of lives in the TU Center or whatever the hell we call it today. Down in downtown Albany. But he does this event. This was done at the Paris Hilton in Troy. And this year's honorees were led by Don Mattingly, Buck Showalter, Yogi Berra posthumously, obviously, Joe Black posthumously, Jesse Barfield, James Fiorentino, which I think is a local coach, not sure, Howard Johnson, Bob Mandaloria, Bob Perthes. Now, by the way, these guys only need to have played in New York, coached in New York. So there's a lot of high school guys here, a lot of college guys here, if you don't recognize all the names. Kevin Graber, Ed Lucas, Curtis Nobles, Buck Showalter, I mentioned, James Dalton, Ted Green, IABF. I'm not sure what that one was. Don Mattingly, as I said, and Brian Sweeney. But Rennie does a great job. This event is sold out every single year, and it's not inexpensive to go to. And it's always great. I watch all the induction speeches afterwards when they're posted on the web page, and they do a great job. Rennie does a great job. And I know that he interacts with these guys a lot. There's always some great speeches and whatnot. Mike Dean has done a great job over the years at the basketball one. Former Siena coach and married to into one of the families I know in Amsterdam, New York. Happy birthday, Rupi Hintz. What time we got? 10:15. He's not 145 today. He's 28 today and currently plays for the Dallas Stars. There we go. So Chris got me somebody who's not 150 years old. Need to run. See you, Paul. Have a great day if you're still watching. But see you later. CA's quiet today from the YouTube side. Continued best wishes to him. CA is the best. We haven't seen Scott Kobe today. We'll give him a shout out too. Hopefully he's doing well today. We did see him on a Friday show. It was good to see him. CA has been a little quiet today. CA sometimes is traveling and watching the show on the road, and also keeping up on all the international dart competitions. Slander. Thank you, Rick. When I slander somebody, I should know what the hell I'm doing. Love the finger in the button. Isn't that a great idea? Oh, I love it. All right, Danny, I'm leaving that up to you. Message me and I'll give you my shipping address so we have it, and we can maybe when we have it, we can showcase it before we have the actual vote. Do you guys think we should do a vote, or should I just make the pick myself? I don't want to be charged with favoritism, so I'm thinking I put it out for the vote, and if there's a tie, I'll be the tiebreaker. What do you think, Matt Little? I think I was watching on Matt's deal when he froze up on the fight. I just said I'll wait. Kenny, your top four definitely. There you go. If the what is voting? I'm saying right now it's fixed. What if you win? What if you win? We only dispute elections when we don't win. You got my NFL picks. The teams I'm betting today, Chris, and by the way, I'm on a bad streak. I lost 5 out of 6 last week. I lost all 3 games yesterday, and to be totally clear. So today, you want to go the other way, maybe. Miami, Green Bay, Chicago over, and I'm still not sure about the last one. I think I'm going to be on Cincinnati. While Aaron Rodgers as a player has been less than advertised, I think his moves as a GM have been stellar. Yes, they've been awesome. Good morning, Ralph from RW Media. Ralph Williams, who I talked about earlier. Ralph does some great stuff there in Pittsburgh. Congratulations on the Pittsburgh Steelers success so far this year. And sorry about the Panthers yesterday. Ralph can check out Ralph's stuff, as I said, on Facebook, YouTube. Ralph, if you're still with us, you want to post the there's another comment from Ralph, which I'll put up. He does the Sports Corner from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday. I was on this past Tuesday with Ralph and Smoking Jim, and we had a great time. And Ralph also says, sad what happened to Pitt Narducci. I think there's a period there. Narducci could be on the hot seat. Pitt has a new AD, Alan Green from Tennessee. I think Narducci had taken himself off that hot seat, Ralph, and I think the last 3 weeks have put him right back on it. So Matt says it was his Facebook feed. I jumped on and was watching the fight. I couldn't believe it. I think Matt saw the comments I was putting up. I'm like, what the frick? I don't know how I fell so far behind. Again, I don't know how much it was buffering. So it must be my feed, even if I'm not watching it, must have buffered. And I was like an hour, nearly an hour, probably behind where Matt's feed was until Matt's feed froze. Then I just said, I'll go watch my own. We already put that up. 7-5 to me is unacceptable for Pitt. It is when you start 6-0, Ralph, for sure. Yeah, I think and they had themselves in the running in the ACC. They were still alive for the championship game even before yesterday, but now they're out. It's now a 3-horse race. I didn't give you my. Here's what I think will be the college football playoff rankings, by the way. So I'll give you this. I didn't get to it when we were talking about college football. Oregon, OSU, Texas obviously stay, and Penn State stay the top 4. Indiana stays at 5. They had a bye yesterday. I've got Notre Dame moving up to 6. I've got who the hell is that? Moving up to 7. Oh, Bama moving up to 7. I've got but can't be Missouri. What the hell was I talking about here? God damn it. Excuse my French. Oh, that's not French either. Oh, I got Miami moving up to 8. That's who I got an argument with. I saw the Dragula comment there, Rick, if I didn't put it up. Ironically, I'm a Miami fan myself. He's a Miami fan. I realized that after I was arguing with him, but it got out of control. Ole Miss at 9. Georgia back in at 10. Maybe they'll jump Miami. It's actually, the more I think about this, I'm going to put Georgia at 8, Miami at 9, Ole Miss at 10. Boise State at 11. I'm going to slide Tennessee into that 12 spot. And that's going to leave BYU, I think, BYU, SMU, A&M, all vying for that first out spot. And Colorado right behind them. Clemson's still alive. South Carolina, who knows? Crazy things could happen. They're moving up. And then you got Army. Army's still alive if Boise State's that stumble. I see Army moving up inside the top 20 this week. Paul Tyson fight a joke. Yeah, we talked about that a lot today, Ralph. It was worse than the worst of reality TV. Hello, Ralph. That's weird. Ralph's jumping around from YouTube to Facebook. Poppy 2 is my grandson. Oh, he makes his own picks. He hasn't picked all year then, right? He should have. Probably be beating all of us because I think he's done very well. Drew had 11 last week. You're looking at this week's one. Oh, that's right. Thank you, Drew. I do that a lot. Sorry about that. It gets confusing because of hold on. Let me fix that. Thank you. Drew had 11. Poppy's picks 2. That was the grandson had 11 last week. Great job. Rick had 10. The generic ESPN guy had 10, and so did the sports nut. And down below we got JB and Keith with 9, Paul with 8, and Poppy picks 1. Grandpa had 6 or 5, whatever that might have been. Thank you about that. Thank you there, Drew. Oh, I lost. There we go. Sad what happened. We already said that, didn't we? Go 7-5. Heard this. Alan Green doesn't play around. Tyson, yeah. Oh, we talked about all of that. Ralph and Narducci's in a lot of trouble for sure. Steelers 20, Ravens 10. I do like the Steelers. Man, Steelers getting points in this game. We only got about 5 minutes left here, so I'm trying to get through the calendar or through the comments. I can't find it. I'm going to assume the Steelers are getting points at home. 3.5. I might be on the Steelers today. Miami 17, Raiders 7. I like that pick. Saints beat Cleveland. I like that pick. CA, there's CA. That's where he's been. Luke Lydier and Gary Anderson in the semis at a PDC Grand Slam of darts on FanDuel TV. You work for FanDuel, CA. Yeah, AC, we're good. Judge MVP is, I don't know, that's not final yet, but I think it will be. By the way, we should have all the MLB awards out tonight. I haven't got confirmation from Drew yet, but Drew, don't let me forget as my work week gets started tomorrow and my mind just becomes a sieve for everything else, that we want to do the wrap-up show, I think, next Friday, if you're available. I'd like to hear Mac with 3 Fingers of Scotch and Dean Martin remix a jingle. John Jones's family is crazy. Athlete's brother, Chandler Jones. Really? Chandler Jones is his brother. Chandler Jones, who played for the Patriots, he was nuts. I feel like the Boston police found him wandering naked one time. Great show. To your earlier comments, I enjoyed some of the irony of some people saying they hate tanking. I hate tanking. Who disappear in fantasy leagues when they can't win at all. That being said, I believe tanking is only acceptable in the military. I don't think it's really the same thing in fantasy as it is in professional. Because I'm, tanking fantasy unless you're a dynasty league and you're tanking to get the first pick the next year. So, not sure I buy that comparison, but as a rule, I hate tanking. And if the irony part was directed at yours truly, because I could care less about finishing second in any league. It's a different. It's fantasy sports to me means nothing compared to real sports and my fandom there. So again, I want my team to win always win. My fantasy team, if I'm not winning at all, then why do I care? Really, I mean, think about it. To me, it's different. To you, it may not be. And again, that's apples. It might be apples and oranges just because opinions are often apples and oranges. But again, listen, I competed all the way through to baseball this year, even though my instinct was say, I competed all the way through. And I'm competing all the way through in football this year, too. And actually doing okay, I guess. All right, guys. So as we get ready to wrap it up, I want to thank everybody for their participation. As always, I think I figured out how to make sure this show starts on time on my Facebook page now, as I cannot continue to share the show that I've just jumped off of. So I will, from now on, unfortunately, Mac and whomever else I might do that with, I'm going to have to, I'm going to always have to end my sharing of that show before. I'm always up for showing up how embarrassing my batteries were. They weren't as bad as we think, I think. All right. Send me a text, will you? So I remember, and I remember to get you. Billy, thank you. You're the best. You're the best, and you still are in the running. I think nobody said. We're going to probably put this up for a vote. This week, college football huddle. We'll have the new the college football standings. See how they compare with what I just said. I didn't put I did put Tennessee in there. So we'll have that show at 7 p.m. Wednesday, Eastern, obviously. Friday, we're still hoping Rick Barry comes back alive. Gets back to me. Said he'd be in Florida, so we'd be on the same time zone. I hope to have an interview with Rick Barry on Friday. And thank you, Drew, for that. Everybody have a great week. We hope to have Rick Barry on Friday. We'll see how that works out. If not, it's your rant show, so get ready. And I want you guys to get in the show. When I put the link in, you guys all got lots of opinions. I want you to come in and do it live in the studio. We'll have some fun. It's all fun. We have a lot of fun with it. And then, of course, we've got the MLB update we'll do with Drew, hopefully. And then back next Sunday. We'll let you know what's going on with the holidays and whatnot later on. Guys, it's been a great morning. I appreciate everything. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Keith Engle for TGI Sports Talk Sunday. Stream of consciousness. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Football season is here, and SeatGeek is my go-to for buying tickets. Now with SeatGeek, every single ticket is backed with their buyer guarantee. We've all had plans change, and when you can't make it to the big game, SeatGeek has you covered. They're the only ticketer that allows you to return your tickets ahead of the event for credit with SeatGeek swaps. So when things come up, I know that my tickets won't go to waste. So what are you waiting for? Download the SeatGeek app to maximize your possibilities and shop live events with confidence.
You're listening to Keith Engle, the host of TGI Sports Talk on the National Streaming Sports Roku channel.